Ben Platt. Oh, I'm sorry, did you think this was everything wrong with Dear Evan Hansen? It's actually everything right with it. Actually, it's a mix of good and bad things, of which Ben Platt is definitely the former, but he did just leave the show. So, ding! Can we get a editing team? Can we get a sin counter here? See, it's like Cinema Sins, but for musicals, but different, because we talk about the content. Heidi has an incredibly important and understated line here, which explains everything that happens after and every character's motivation.
I don't know if you can tell, but this is me just pretending to know. I'm making this up as I go.
I'm making this up as I go. That is true for everyone. Every character, me making the video right now, and obviously for Evan as well. He's literally making it up as he goes. It also gives us a nice message right off the bat, which will be expanded upon later. If you feel lost, like you have no idea what you're doing, don't worry, because nobody else knows either. Nobody in the history of all time has ever known what they're doing, including, like very important people, like world leaders, you know? Hi, I'm critically acclaimed actor Michael Park, winner of 2 back-to-back Daytime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series, and today I'll be playing the role of generic suburban dad. Number 1. Alright, let's talk about waving through a window. First of all, like so many contemporary musical songs and musical theater roles for men, it's written for a tenor, which means that no voice that doesn't live in the freaking stratosphere has any chance of making their dreams of being on Broadway a reality. That is, unless A, they wait until they're middle-aged and audition for bit parts, where they can have a wide array of choices, such as being a generic parent cameo, an authority figure cameo, or a generic parental authority figure cameo, or B, they depend on the few shows that actually do have parts for bases, most of which were written like 50 plus years ago and probably have antiquated views on race and gender, or there are shows like Great Comet that closed because God is dead and Andrew Lloyd Webber is worth like $1.2 billion. That's more than Jay-Z and Beyonce as a couple. Did you know that? It's amazing. Cats. Oh my God. Anyway, the sin here is that tenors are the bourgeoisie of voice types, and their roles should be redistributed among all the altos and basses that never got a chance. And come to think of it, that's exactly what we should do to Mr. Lloyd Webber as well.
I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key.
Alright, maybe I'm in the dark about how cars work, but do you not have to do that anyway to start the car? Do you not have to put your feet on the brake pedal before you can turn the key to start the engine? Is this not how cars work everywhere else? So this is how my car works, but I don't know for a fact this is how other cars work. I'm not a car expert. I don't want this to be another situation where apparently in New Jersey they have sushi at school and 7-Eleven and slushies are not self-serve. Do other cars not make you put your foot on the brake pedal before you start it? Because if not, then yeah, Evan, you should be doing that. You were taught correctly.
When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound?
Oh, the falling in a forest line. It's a line that in a lesser musical would be bad because it would have no context and it would just be relying on an existing metaphor or saying, which is something that's like a musical theater trope, I guess, but the context is that this actually happened. He did in fact fall in a forest with nobody around. He did in fact crash. He did in fact make a sound though, which was probably like, ow. Well, I'm not dead and my arm is broken, so I'd say this was a net negative.
There's nothing that we can't discuss, like girls we wish would notice us.
Oh, you mean like his sister? That must have been awkward. Requiem does a really good job of showing how complicated grief can be and how you can even resent the person you're grieving for to some extent and still miss them. Oh my God, how am I not finding more things wrong with this musical? At this point, it's just false advertising, and I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
Did he say anything else?
About you?
Never mind, I don't really care
No,
anyways.
no, he said so many things. I'm trying to remember the best ones.
That moment's so good.
He thought you looked really pretty, or it looked pretty cool.
Consider for a moment if Evan had just ran with the angle of Connor being totally into his sister. Just consider that. Consider what kind of musical that would be. I feel like they didn't have the time or inclination to do a whole commentary on social media and how it affects mental health, nor would it have necessarily been to the benefit of the show overall, but I think it is pretty realistic how this goes down as far as turning Connor's death into a viral campaign. The only thing I think isn't realistic, ironically, is that it was successful, just because it's 2017 and these types of things are popping up everywhere. But obviously, if the Connor project didn't go anywhere, then we wouldn't have this story. Breaking a glove. Oh, boy, okay. Unlike in Be More Chill and Heathers, we actually do care about the parents in Dear Evan Hansen. However, this song, maybe not so much. Really, I think you can make a strong argument for cutting it. I know it's important to show Evan bonding with the family, showing that he has, a father figure that he never had, but only kind of. Even with this song, the relationship is still a little weak because they only have so much time to dedicate to it. And the whole thing about doing things the right way maybe influences Evan's decision to come clean. But, I think I actually just half-talked myself into accepting it as necessary, but it is indisputably extremely generic suburban dad. I listened to Good For You before watching the bootleg or even reading the Wikipedia synopsis and legitimately thought it was a breakup song.
I never meant to make it such a mess.
Evan, my dear, sweet, pitiful child, I know you feel like you need to explain yourself, and you do. But at this moment, every single person you're talking to, including probably the audience, is most likely thinking, Jesus, Evan, shut the up for 1 second of your entire life.
A real live truck in your driveway.
What are you telling me? This kid hasn't seen a truck in his whole life. What are you talking about? I see trucks every day. I see truck here, truck over there. I don't know what that was. And I don't have anything else to say about So Big, So Small, because usually when I listen to it, Rachel Bay Jones is making me bawl my eyes out. Oh, I did forget to mention this earlier, but in the bootleg, if you've seen it, in the first act, she seems kind of drunk. She's definitely manic throughout, but in the first act, she seemed tipsy. Is that just me, or am I imagining that?
Dear Evan Hansen, today is going to be a good day.
Dear Evan Hansen, it's going to be a good day? Here's something that is kind of brought up, but not really. We see how Connor's family is targeted by strangers on the internet. They're getting hate mail and death threats. But imagine what the response would be once the word gets out that Evan just made all this up. It would be a national news story. We would all hate him with a passion, and no one would feel bad about it. The real-life ending of this musical is that Evan's life is basically over. He can't go anywhere in public or have any online presence because he's just going to be bombarded with death threats and random people screaming obscenities and telling him what a bad person he is, like the comment section on any YouTube video. When I started writing this, I was expecting to really go hard on it. I do not remember liking the show at all, and that's probably because I haven't listened to it since around the time of the Tonys, where I was absolutely livid that it robbed Great Comet of every award, including Best Score and Orchestrations, which is actually a travesty. However, revisiting it, especially after listening to some other examples of contemporary musicals that deal with high schoolers, I have a newfound appreciation. My biggest gripe with Dear Evan Hansen is the Broadway pop-ish style that it shows musically, but it is what it is. I personally find that entire genre bland and uninspiring, but this is probably the best example of it. So there's that. If you like that kind of thing, this is probably good for you. And I don't say that like mockingly. Music choice is entirely subjective. But aside from that, it's well constructed, meaningful. It has a lot of heart, which is more than can be said about certain other shows I could name. I mean, it actually makes them look like hot garbage. And I'm no fangirl. This will never be one of my favorite shows, but it does have my respect. It chose an important and relevant topic for the audience and handled it well. So you get props for that, you Tony Award stealing jokers. I don't know, I'll probably go listen to like Great Comet and come back and absolutely be ready to tear the show to shreds, but right now I'm pretty chill with it. And as for the Tony, it may not have been the best show necessarily, but it was the most indicative of this period of time in musical theater. Alright, that's it for this video. Anyway, please subscribe. Let me know what you want me to do next. I'm gonna start doing some more summary and analysis and get back to like the roots of what I want this channel to be. But you can still, recommend stuff to me. I'll take a look. I don't know, maybe I'll start a Patreon where people can like suggest things to me. But until then, remember, seize the means of production, my dog.